We are a go. We are here with Miss Shayla Wey. Hello, Miss.
Hi, John.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing really well. It's a couple days before SLC, so tensions are high. No, it's really great. Getting ready, flying out in a couple days. Just thanks so much for being on. I know newly promoted to DVC and a few days before SLC. Not obviously this won't be aired for a little bit, but yes, thanks for taking the time out of your schedule to sit and meet and to share some goods. And it's good to have you here.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Shayla Wey, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I actually been with Vector for almost 14 years now. So started way back in 2006. I was a university student when I started, and then my second summer moved into an AM role, and then I had an opportunity to work with Angie McDougall as a pilot manager.
Nice.
And I was in that role for about 5-6 years. And so we were able to work together, for many years to be the first office in Canada to have $1 million summer, first office in Canada to ever do $2 million. So I had a really, really great opportunity to work with her for, a few years after I even graduated from my business degree. And then in 2012, I had my son Carter, and he's now 7. And so in Canada, we have an opportunity to have a maternity leave for a year. And so that gave me some time to, I didn't take a full year, but I had some time basically to leave the business and be with my son. And then that just caused me to sort of reevaluate, what I wanted my next chapter to be. And at that time, my plan was sort of to navigate different options. And one of the options that came up was the sales promotion manager for Canada. Gotcha. So the SPM role. And so that was an opportunity where I could still stay within the company and still be with the people and, really gain a whole different set of skills. So I did that for 5 years. And in there, I also had my daughter, Brooklyn, who's 4. And then it was about 2 years after she was born, so 2017, that I started to feel like that role wasn't challenging me anymore. And, you can show up to a job and just kind of get through the days, or when you're a Vector person, sometimes you really want to challenge yourself just to a new chapter, right? So for me, I didn't know what that was going to look like. So I started exploring some options, and someone had just said, well, what about being a district manager? And I was like, oh, I don't think I could do that. I've got kids and this and that. And no, I think you can. You've been a pilot manager, you've been assistant, you've basically had every role in the company possible. You totally could do it. And I was at a conference where I met somebody, just a rep, and I just realized that really ignites me, being around young people that are driven and excited and just need the right coaching in life. And so I thought I would never know unless I tried. And so I was SPM doing SC2 push week, and then also in the midst of opening up an office. So I actually opened up a district office in Calgary, August 1, 2017, which is not obviously a key time to open up a new business. I came into an office that wasn't, thriving by any means. I think there was about 5 reps in the office at the time, but really just made the most of it. And 2 years as a DM. And then, like you mentioned, a couple weeks ago, was promoted to division coordinator for Canrock division. So yeah, that's quick Coles notes of my path.
Yeah, that was efficient and right on the money. The Canrock, so Canadian Rockies division, Canrock and division, and what territory is that in?
So it's the province of British Columbia and southern Alberta, so the west side of Canada.
Okay, cool. What are some of your proudest moments? And that could be in Vector, out of Vector.
Definitely hitting President's Banquet the first time. There were many years that I worked alongside Angie that we would, work for that goal together. And then, she would get to go to Vegas and celebrate. And so for me to finally have an opportunity, over a decade later, to be able to hit that was definitely a proud moment. Yeah. I had hit it in my first 5 months opening. And in Canada, our President's Banquet starts in September. So I had been open for about 5 weeks, and then our contest started. And so to hit that my first fall was definitely a big achievement for sure.
So opening up in August, because back a while back in the U.S. even, our President's Banquet contest was Campaign 3. And they switched that to late July, August through October, I think November. So in Canada, you still do Campaign 3. You opened up August 1st. So you theoretically had that month in August, right? It wasn't through SC1 or SC2, open up on August 1st, September, 1 month later, and then through September to December, you hit President's Banquet in that first campaign, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. The stat from last year I have, which is amazing, and you gave a lights out message, one of the top rated from last year on SLC, through simplicity, through just system-based, which we're going to talk about in a little bit through one of my questions. Last year, 2018, you did $220,000 in the fall. That stat was correct?
Yep.
I wanted to check like 3 times. Like, wait, did 220? Like new business, real business? Like that's outstanding work.
Yep. So yeah, it was fun. We don't have we have a CSP office. So when you open up an office, CSPs don't become a part of your office.
Yeah.
So I don't have any CSPs in my office. So everything that I've done is my own, like my own business and things like that.
I appreciate that too. Like a brand new manager coming in, it's good to get a couple of boosts, maybe some from reps returning, but to have a CSP in a brand new office, I really appreciate the way the company does that. Hey, work around a little bit, earn up to it, and then you can get some additional CPO. But I love that. It's an earned, not given type of mentality in that scenario. So great. So let's jump into it. Again, thanks again for having us here. I know that you're on track because your President's Banquet literally just started 3 weeks ago, your contest, and you're on track again for being there. So wishing you not only the best of luck, but a good journey on your travels there. Let's jump into your DM. Going back to being a district manager. I mean, your path is amazing. Like, so 2006, rep, assistant manager, pilot sales manager, SPM, mom. By the way, let's add in mom of 2. What was your mindset going from all of that, and then it's like, I'm going to become a DM? What was your mindset? How did you feel going into it? Tell us a little bit about that.
I think it was one of those things that I'd been around for so long that it was one of those, well, you'll never know unless you give it a shot. And I had just known so many of the business, models of you just follow it, and, it's what you kind of put into that. So for me, it was very much, if I don't give this a shot, I'll never know how good I could do. And also I just loved, coming in as a mom, that I, wanted to be a mom first and a boss second, and how I could bring that to the workplace, being a mom boss for all these young entrepreneurs. And I just really believe, seeing these, 18, 19, 20-year-olds that we recruit, they just need our leadership in life. They need, we talk a lot about that 5-star recruit. And when I would be at conferences as an SPM, I'm like, man, if they just got in the right leadership, these kids could do some really crazy things. So I kind of, always thought that you couldn't be a district manager if you were older. But then I just switched that mentality to be like, actually, I have a huge advantage because I can totally rock that role of being a mom boss and helping them and coaching them. And so I just really came into it with my goal was to really create 5-star recruits. And, you can obviously take whatever you want in university, but they're not teaching you the time management skills, the public speaking, the confidence, the skills that set you apart. And, being a mom and seeing people, having challenges navigating, their schedules with kids and their capacity. You can't read a book on capacity and then all of a sudden show up and have capacity. You have to earn that. And I just felt so grateful that with my journey with Vector, that I just gained all of these skills from the push weeks, from having to just get out of my comfort zone so many times, that I was like, man, I really want to be able to give back and create that. And I think that's really how I arrived at my decision is that I never knew it unless I gave it a shot. And I just have so much to offer this next generation that I just, it's not even about the sales. It's about creating those leaders. And that's the perspective I had right from the beginning, is that I really want to help them become great people. And so I just say, whether you work with me for a few weeks, few months, few years, you're going to be better because of it. And I just truly believe that.
I love that you said, as my notes go, I'm like frivolously writing it down. So like when I came in as a DM, I didn't have any other option. Like I came in and I did it. And believe it or not, like that, you did come in with an option. You came in with the option of, I'm going to do this. I'm mom first though. That's my non-negotiable. I'm not going to lose myself along the way. Boss second. And I got to tell you, and even just from previous calls with other managers and including myself, I've really fallen into the pitfall of identity and significance around a Cutco office. It's intoxicating, trophies, swords, trips, payoffs, recognition. It's a world that unless you work here, it's rock star-esque. But you came in with the mentality as I am mom first. Now, obviously, not everyone's going to have that mentality because they're not at that level. But I think if they could take the philosophy of I'm as a good person first, leader in life first, business boss second, I think that you separated that. I think
it's so important to, as going in regardless. Yeah. I mean, you don't have kids, then it really comes down to just defining success and what that looks like for you. So for some people, like you just said, success is the trophies and the money and the recognition. for some people, success is a bit of that balance where they can have a really great social life. They can be volunteering. It doesn't have to be being a parent. It could be giving back. It could be working out. It could be whatever. But what does success in Vector actually mean to you? And then creating that identity, and your own brand, right? So what's the brand for your office? When people walk into that, what do they feel? What do they want to get from it? And personally, like, what's your personal brand? Are you just a Vector manager? Because I believe that the reason that I circled back to being a district manager is because I could see people like Angie living a life outside of the business just as exciting as inside of the business. And so, for me, I think that one of the reasons that we were able to create leaders so quickly is that people were attracted to the fact that I didn't live in my office every day. Like, I don't work Wednesdays. That's still my day off. I haven't really worked a Wednesday in 2 years. I mean, there's the odd one if there's an event happening, of course, like SLC and things like that. But, I work every other Saturday because I have help with leadership there. And I really don't work on Sundays. So it's just being efficient with my time, being clear about what I'm building and my whys. And people want to jump on the wagon when they are excited about where you're going and having that vision a few steps ahead. You can't be in a situation as a district manager where you're not already thinking about next summer at this point. Like, I've already had conversations about staff for next summer and how that's going to shape. And if you can't think past, next week, then they don't feel like they have a vision to follow. So just being so clear on that is just huge. Right. And like you said earlier, for me, it wasn't an option. I had to be 100% committed. And it's way easier when you're all in, because then you're not spending your mindset is not like, well, if I don't go to that campus table, it's no, I'm going because this is my job. This is my career. And so it's way easier to be 100% committed than 90%. And I just really believe that it helps you make the right decisions when you're all in.
It's amazing. Like, hey, I might see you at the movies tonight. As simple as that, right? And then anything that pops up could be a potential thing to do. Even if you're 90% committed, I go, I'll meet you there. And inside you're kind of like, unless. But when it's like, no, I'm going to the movies. Like, no matter what anybody says, dude, it's like, no, I'll meet you at 9. Or do you want to meet at 8:30 instead? It's not if I'm coming, it's when we're going to meet there. Apply that exact same philosophy again to district management, where because you commit to being a manager, I got nervous back in the day. As a new manager, I got nervous about commitment. I didn't know what to expect, so I was afraid of it in a capacity. If I'd have somebody to explain to me where it's like, you can commit to 6 months, you can commit to a year, you can commit to 5 years, have your plan in place. But when you know that this is where you're going to be for the indefinite future and there's a plan in place, commitment with a plan, watch out, and then when in turn something does come across your plate that is the next move for you, then approach it then. I personally got caught up on the what if. And the heck of it is, 15 years later, the what if never really popped into my plate, but it was the idea, it was the potential, it was the idea of it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, totally. And I think that for some of the newer managers listening, that you don't need to commit for 10 years, right? Like, just commit for the campaign, commit for the next year. I always say to some people that, regardless of where you're at in your age, is that a Vector year or Vector couple years is like a little sparkle in your whole life. Mm-hmm. It's not like it's going to be the next 40 years. Now, for some people, it might be that, but just, you're here right now. So just be here, show up, because what you don't want to have to do is in 5 years from now, be like, oh man, if I would have done X, Y, Z, it's just be here right now. And you don't need to think about 10 years from now. But if you're in a place where you're having fun, you're learning, you're growing, you're in the right place. You're here for a reason. So just show up and get clear on that. And then, reevaluate in, a year. Hey, am I in a place where I'm having fun? And those chapters might change, as they do, right? They've changed with you. They've changed with myself. It's not a bad thing if we choose different paths eventually, or how that works. But it's just, while you're here, just be 100% here. And then you're just going to get better results and feel a lot better about that than, being on the fence most of the time.
Yeah.
And treating it like a job, right? I think as a district manager that a lot of us, we have the flexibility, which is such a huge perk, but that could be, limiting sometimes, or that could really hurt us because we're like, well, I don't really have to go in. So one of the really great benefits of having children is that I don't actually really have any time to waste. So, when it says that I'm in my office at 7 a.m., it's not like I can be like, well, maybe I'll show. No, like I actually have to be there at 7. And for me, I schedule my day like I would if I worked anywhere else. Like, I'm in the office from 7 until 6 or whatever the hour is that day. Then I'm there and I'm just working for that day, just like I would if I was working somewhere else. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think too many people are like, oh, I'll just go do this or that. And they're just not committed for the time. And so having extracurricular activities outside of the business, having things to look forward to forces that urgency to just get it done. I don't want to be doing emails at 10 o'clock at night if I don't need to be. So, that urgency so that you can create that lifestyle, because the flexibility does allow you to have more of a lifestyle. You just need to be urgent and efficient in the time that you plan to just work.
That's a great testament to flexibility. I think even having a segment on just how to actually be flexible, how to utilize the schedule, it's almost like I have all the flexibility in the world, but I use it to choke myself. It's like I've got a leash, but it hurts me instead. And as an entrepreneur, I can do anything. And that feeling is so amazing, but it's also so limiting, because if I theoretically could do anything, a lot of the times I didn't do anything because I was caught in the idea of I could do anything. But write down your schedule as if you were your own manager, which you are, but then give yourself the schedule. Like at another job, here's your schedule. This is when you're going to work. Just great. Yeah. It's as a mom, I don't have the time to mess around. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I have to do. But can we get that to our newer management staff, our newer field managers, and saying, hey, you can choose the schedule and just go after it. And just
I think that your schedule needs to be a reflection of the lifestyle you want to live. So kids or no kids, I mean, you want to be healthy and work out. It's not an excuse that you can't find time to the gym. Get there at 5:30 then, get there at 9 o'clock at night. It doesn't matter, but put that in your schedule. Leave during the day and go to a yoga class. Like, your schedule should reflect your lifestyle. So if somebody sees your schedule, they should see, oh, wow, this person, values fitness. They value their friendships. They value family. They value whatever. And that should be how you design a schedule. So whenever I look at, a campaign, it's like, okay, well, what are the important things that need to happen? And those go in the schedule. And then anything that needs to be delegated goes in the schedule, right? So my office calendar is so detailed that it's just a matter of putting the time in to do that, and then just showing up and doing all the things in your schedule, which sounds easy, but planning gives you confidence. Being organized gives you a certain level of confidence, because if you're just going through your day putting out fires, that's not a fun place to be. But when you sit down and plan your team meetings for the campaign, then it's actually really fun to just show up and run a kick-ass meeting, right? When you're working on different projects, right? You schedule that stuff in. It's exciting and fun to work on the business, but you got to plan that stuff. So that's how I would say the flexibility thing helps, is that it's a reflection of the lifestyle you want to live. You can change that.
Schedule needs to be the reflection of the life you want to live. And the word needs is loose, but it's like your schedule should be. Your schedule, with this amount of flexibility, you're not going to get this anyplace else. Add another job, right? No, you get here at 9, you leave at 5. You get here at 8, and you leave at 7. Like, I got a couple of friends that work in the city of Philly. And it's like, oh, I'm going to get to go to the city every day. And it's like, you do, but it's also a 45-minute commute minus traffic. What time do you get in at? 8. And so it means I got to leave the house by 7, but I got to get up at 5:45. I've got a couple of kids. And he walked me through the scenario. I'm like, that sounds horrible. And it's a very high role in the city, Philly. But it's like every day, he's like, I don't ever leave the office before 7. I'm like, would you ever choose that schedule if you could pick that? It's like, heck no. We have that capacity to do that here. So awesome. Schedule should be the reflection of the life that you want to live. And I think if you're running a pretty successful schedule, people are going to be attracted to that. So be efficient, be clear, and be intentional with your actions. That's a great quote from you. And so what about planning though? Can we take 60 seconds on planning? I'm Johnny, new manager. I'm Susie, new manager. I don't know how to plan. I always hear plan. Planning is going to be amazing. What would you teach us to do? How would you teach us to do it?
So I would say I typically will do my planning like 18 months at a time. And so I just print off like calendars. It's super old school, but I'll just print off blank calendars for like the next year and a half. And I'll have it laid out. And then what I'll do is I'll kind of start with the back in mind and then work backwards. So I'll put in things like, the company trip, any personal travel, any of the big events, and those kind of things will all go in there. And then I will put in things like for the kids, if there's hockey tournaments, dance recitals, that kind of stuff. We like to do other events, like we always host a Christmas party for the kids. So I put in all those things really far out so that there's like a non-negotiable, and I'll just work my business around all that stuff. And then what I'll do is I'll put in obviously my training seminars, make adjustments where necessary, if there's holidays, conferences, that kind of stuff. Cool. And then, and then I just will put in all the little things like all the interviews, when we're doing our PR calls, just anything that I want in the business, in that calendar. So I start just with like the super basic, like vision of the next year and a half, and then break that down to like an office calendar. And then I always put my stuff in first and then schedule assistant managers sort of around that, or the pilot manager around that. and then just having systems for success. So creating, having that plan, but then having the office being able to run in a way that regardless if I'm here or not, things are run with systems. So we've got lots of checklists, a checklist from even how to set up for a team meeting, how to prep for a team meeting, how to run a phone jam, how to enter base pay. I mean, just everything that if a new person just walked in my office and I said, hey, here's what I need to do to prep for the meeting, they could read that checklist and be like, oh, okay, set up posters, get on time tickets, whatever. Lots of sign up sheets, things like that. And then I will use a passion planner, which is, I'm kind of old school where I still like to use, a paper calendar.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I do. Do you? Or do you use iCal?
100%. I'm a paper guru.
So it's like.
One sec. There you go. You're back. Sorry, it froze there, but you're back now. But yes, did it freeze on your end?
No, you're good. You're a paper
So the
guy.
last 60 seconds, I think there was a little bit of a freeze. And your face was kind of like in a thought process phase like this, but it was like paper all over the place. Now, I'm not saying I condone that, but if I put notes on my phone, next thing you know, I'm checking out sports scores from 4 weeks ago on what the pitcher threw or what the quarterback. So if I can go paper, though, I don't get distracted with it. So yes, I am.
Yeah, and then I would, and then so you kind of put that stuff for planning, and then anything. So I don't have my work email on my phone because it's too easy to get sucked into trying to put notes to answer that stuff. So when I work, it's on my computer, and then that way I'm handling my emails and stuff when I'm in like a working mindset. But what I find that I do for the planning stuff is you'll be having a conversation with somebody is I'll just email it to myself. And then that way when I'm actually on my computer working, and it could be something as simple as a rep asks a question about, getting a phone approach for a service call or something like that. You're at a team night, whatever, I'll email myself that. And then that kind of helps me just put that stuff in there. And then just all the little to-dos just kind of go at the bottom of my calendar. And then those just kind of get done in between the little blank spaces in between the calendar.
You've got such a hold on this. And if I could take that and extract what a new manager could do, what a first 2-3 years, even a veteran that might have kind of steered away a little bit, it's having a checklist, having a systems of what you really want to accomplish. I always call it like a word bank, like put all the things down that you could do. It's called a word bank. And then from that word bank, you can just have a schedule and you just pick the things from the word bank and put it in your schedule. And then do it. And if it works, improve it next week. And if it totally was a train wreck, right, disaster, cool, improve it. But this is not the overnight. This is not I planned, why is my business not taking off? Like I went to the gym last week, why am I not stronger? It's like, it's a consistency, it's a process. PDI, PCs, team meetings. If you're doing all these things anyways, why not write down the basic formula, right? You may not get a 5 out of 5 star in Yelp for how amazing your formula is, but you'll be a successful manager because you've got the basics of what needs to happen. So what does the skeleton of a team meeting look like? What does the skeleton of a PDI call look like? And that's something that we're working here at National. One of the things my job is to new manager development. So if it's like, hey, I need some help with PDI, it's like, boom, here's a basic format. If you follow that, you'll be successful. The level of success will be to your energy, will be to your effort, will be to your intentions, will be to your clarity, your efficiency, like you had said earlier. So I love your systems, your check and balances, your systems, and that's great.
And just being flexible. I think that, as a vector manager, you just have to be, we can make this perfect schedule, but it's never going to be exactly how it looks. So being flexible, being okay, being adaptable are qualities that you just gain from that. But trying not to do everything either, right? Like sometimes when you make a schedule, you're like, well, if I had this program and this program, it's just like, what are your 3 focuses this campaign? Ours is, right, campus, PRs, and rep productivity with our reps, right? Like 3 things. So does my schedule have, all the PC spots, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just taking the time to plan, really.
Yeah, simplifying systems. That's great. And I think that, and above all that, it's going to take time. So it's just buckle in, and the movie has to unfold. The construction of the house needs to get dirty for a little bit. You got to break on eggs to get some omelet, like whatever cliche line you want to use. This process is not overnight. This process is a continuous journey, but it's amazing when things start to click, but allow yourself some time, allow yourself some grace for the mess ups. SLC time right now, and we're going on, it's a big event, and it as an SPM and for the entire country. I'm just watching our office operate. And one of the best advice I got 2 different days from 2 different people, John Keane and Scott Garrell, and they're just like, we just got to plan for everything to be great. But if and inevitably when something goes wrong, it's not about what happens, it's about how we respond to it. And Shayla, I'm sure you've heard that numerous times, but I got to think how many times I went into an event saying, this has got to be perfect. You can't mess this up. And I've already dug myself a hole before I started. Versus, hey, our intentions are in the best area. We've got a legitimate schedule. We've confirmed it, and let's put it into play. And when chaos happens, let's welcome it. But let's not lose ourselves along the way, and then let's fix it for the future. I mean, that's what I'm picking up from what you're putting down. That's a lingo on the street.
Yeah, totally. And just, if any manager right now is feeling the overwhelmed, I feel like I don't even know what's happening tomorrow. Just take a step back, put it on paper. Once it's out of your brain and it's on paper,
love it.
It's a good feeling. And then you just have to execute it. And, anything that's not happening, you get it out of your head and get it on paper. And that gives you so much confidence because then it's there and you're like, oh, okay, well that looks like a pretty solid plan. Yeah. I'm just show up now. And that's half the battle. I think sometimes is just show up and just do what your schedule says.
It's amazing how it's like, I'm so overwhelmed. It's like, well, what do you have going on? I've got 1,000 things going on. And I swear I've done this to myself, but I've also talked to people like, take out a piece of paper, no joke, not your phone, take out a piece of paper and start writing down what's on your mind. No joke, it's typically 3 to 6 things. And what happens is that I got to get my car registered. Okay, I got to get groceries I haven't eaten in 3 days. And it's like, what? And I got to set my PR this. And there's 4 things, right? But to them, it's 1,000 things. And they're not wrong because those 4 things, by the time they get to 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, it's looping back to number 1. But I still got to get my car registered. So by the end of the day, they've thought of 4 things 250 times each, which it's not that unrealistic to do that. And in their mind, I've got 1,000 things to do. Yeah. When you can have that written down and you can look at it in a linear fashion, actually it's 8 things to do. And those 3 at the bottom, they can't even be done this month. That's actually next month you do those things. It's get it off of you so you don't have to remember it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. As our time, because I want to be conscious of your time for a call, I was going to say anything that you want to wrap up with as far as, because you talked about your systems, which was fantastic. What do you wish you have known, coming into the business, going back a couple of years? And if you were to say this to a new manager, hey, this is what I wish I would have known a couple of years back about the business or how I would have come into it. Anything to add to that as we wrap up here?
I would just say, belief in yourself. The program works. People want to help and support you. Being really just clear on your whys, why you're here, why this is a path you chose, and you can do it. I think that as you get really clear on that, your confidence will continue to grow, and that if you want to grow your business, you have to grow yourself. And, the last year, my business grew tremendously, but it was because I chose to grow myself. I mean, your mind, it follows you around everywhere you go. It talks to you all day long. Yeah. And so if you are not feeding it good stuff, it's not going to help you show up better. Right. So, just a podcast on the way to work, 5 minutes of reading, and you hear that. I mean, it's not like it's it's the first time you've heard that from, but that truly is, if I was to go back in time, what I would have done differently is spend less time worrying and being like, well, what if this is this? And just been like, I'm 100% in, this is what I'm doing. It's business. It's not vector. Business is business, right? We sell a great product. We've got a great program. I mean, there's 1,000,001 things that are fantastic. So treat it like a business, grow yourself, be clear on your whys, define success, and, follow your schedule.
Great. The word for this is clarity. I think that's a word that keeps on popping up, the word that I'm thinking about you when you talk, is I'm clear on what I want to do. And for somebody who's not clear, hey, let's, instead of becoming clear, let's get more clear. Well, what does clear look like? It's like, what's 1% more clear look like? Instead of saying, what does clear look like? What's 1% closer to clear? What's one more step you could take to become more clear today? Hence the process, not the destination, the journey, not the destination. So great stuff. I'm really excited for this content and for people to review it. I just love your enthusiasm, your energy. You've just got integrity as a person, powerful mom boss, right? And just kicking butt and taking some names.
Well,
so to wrap up, I'm sorry.
I said, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I know that you've got a call with Nicholas Metlack, and I don't want to hold you too long, but as we wrap up every call, we have what's called our fun minute of fun questions.
Okay.
So we've got 60 seconds of fun questions. If you don't know, you can pass.
Okay.
Just say pass. But the record right now is 106 questions in 60 seconds.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
True or false?
False.
Correct. You're already, that's one already. Just think about that, right? So, okay, here we go. 60 seconds of fun questions. Okay? And go. What is this?
A football.
Very good. One. What country is directly north of the United States?
Canada.
What is it?
Canada.
Very good. Who was the first prime minister of Canada ever?
I have no idea.
John Alexander MacDonald. Correct. The U.S. has states. Canada has
Provinces.
excellent. What is 9 plus 3 minus 1?
9. What did you say? 9 plus
9
3?
plus 3 minus 1.
Oh, 11.
Yep. How many provinces are there in Canada?
11.
10.
Well, they kind of changed that. There's like a
Google lied to me? All right. When is your birthday?
It's like, yeah, anyways. It's like
When's your birthday?
March 7th.
Nailing this. In tennis, the score 0 has a nickname of what?
I don't know tennis.
Okay. What superpower could you have if you did?
Superpower? Reading people's minds.
Read people's minds. Okay. Excellent job. Read minds. What am I thinking right now? Right? Okay, and for the $10 gas card, the $10 iTunes card riddle of the week. Ready for this? What has a neck but no face?
I don't know.
A bottle. No? Good? Medium there? Okay. Canada's correct. Football's correct. Prime Minister Sir John Alexander MacDonald. Province is correct. 11. I looked up on Google and it said 10 provinces in Canada. Is Google wrong?
Well, there's just territories too, so it just depends if you call the 2 territories. Yeah. Anyways, I'm sure.
I'll give you half credit.
Sure, half.
Cool, half credit. You got your birthday wrong? How was that?
March 7th.
Oh, you got it right. Okay. And the score in tennis 0 is love.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well, because we just had the Canadian girl win the U.S. Open.
Gotcha.
And you got me. So
so you know, you're the only person to swear twice on this, and you know what? I implore it every time. You said the A word and you said the D word. So
sorry.
I will see you next week. Thank you so much for coming on.
Sounds good.
All right. See ya.